Hello, everybody. Welcome into Sports by GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Jeremy Lapidus. Today is Tuesday, October 1st. Baseball playoffs are here. We're in October. They did it great. The first two wildcard games are officially underway, and along with our classic Rankings Tuesday, we are going to break down the MLB playoffs, starting with the wild card rounds, eventually leading to a World Series prediction. Of course, breaking down Monday Night Football's doubleheader between the Dolphins and the Titans and the Seahawks and the Lions, before hopping into our NFL power rankings and, of course, our NCAA top 25. But before we get into any of that, remember, if you would like to be an even bigger part of the show than you already are, all you need to do is go to gsmcpodcast.net. Or if you are on YouTube, you can use that super chat feature. If you do either of those two things, a message should pop up on the bottom of the screen for you, me, and everybody else around the world to see. If you do have a burning question about sports, anything at all that you would like to ask, go ahead and throw that in the comments, throw it in the chat. I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. I appreciate everybody so much for sticking around, talking some sports with me here on a beautiful Tuesday, October 1st. But like I was saying, we are in October, and that means playoff baseball, which means we are going to break down the October playoff picture. The MLB playoffs are here. Wonderful time. Starting off with the two games that are currently going on, and those two series, the Astros, Houston Astros, winning their division, having a huge comeback in the middle of the season, starting at 10 games back from the Seattle Mariners, who end up missing out on the playoffs this year. They're hosting the Detroit Tigers in these wild card series. All of them are best of three. We got to see in this first game that currently she sees a Tigers 3-0 lead in the bottom of the eighth with 2 outs to go. Not over yet, but we got to see a gem from Tariq Skubal. Tariq Skubal goes out there, 6 innings strong. Tariq Skubal throws 6 innings, only 4 hits, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, just 88 pitches. Absolute domination out of the future AL Cy Young winner. The Tigers are a team who have been hotter than anybody else in the last couple months. They sneak into the playoffs after having a 0.2% chance to make it in August. They're here now, and they win a game. Now, I know we're at a point where the Tigers are going to win this game, most likely. But looking at the bracket, looking at this Houston team, I know a lot of times you have to go with the hot bat. And right now, if you're going with the hot team, the hottest team in baseball is the Detroit Tigers. There's a reason that they snuck into the top 10 of our latest power rankings. There's a reason that, we see them up on the Astros right now. But the Astros are a team that has the most playoff experience. Over 100 baseball playoff games played for these Houston Astros. Over 100 of them since 2015. That is ridiculous. They've made it to 7 straight ALCS. That's not normal. I don't see them losing in the wild card round at least. And even if they're going to lose this game, they go up against Tariq Skubal, and I had them losing this game anyway. Astros take this wild card series in 3. To the other game that's active right now, the Kansas City Royals head to Baltimore to take on those Baltimore Orioles. Top of the 5th, that game is moving very quickly. 2 outs in that one. 0-0, no score, only 3 hits all game long. In fact, 4. Only 4 hits all game long. Corbin Burns, Cole Reagans have been going at it. Neither of them have surrendered a walk, just those 4 base runners right now. If you love pitching, which I love pitching, this is the series to watch. The Royals have one of the best starts, top 3 arms in all of baseball. The Baltimore Orioles, outside of Corbin Burns, are a little bit weak. This is a very, very important game for them to win. This is an Orioles team that's really struggled recently. They lost. They went on a very cold streak at the end of the season. Pitching is not where it needs to be right now for the Orioles, and I think they lose this series in 3. I think Kansas City upsets the Baltimore Orioles, takes them down in 3 games on the road. Next year might be the year for the O's, but this is not it. Moving on to games that have not yet taken place. Those were the 2 AL wildcard games. Over in the NL, we have the two most recent teams that clinched playoff spots, both of them on Monday by winning a game in that doubleheader that we were keeping you guys updated on in our last show. The Mets, the number 6 seed Mets, travel to Milwaukee to take on the Brewers. And the Brewers are a team that have been really solid all season long. They haven't done anything too crazy, too wild. They win 90 games. They do what they need to do, take care of business here. But the Mets have been this team of destiny ever since Grimace threw out his first pitch, right? Ever since June 11th, they've gone 65-31. They have been an incredible baseball team. Again, you can go back. You go to the hot hand. They've been one of the hottest in all of baseball. Francisco Lindor, while maybe his stats don't jump out at you when you take a look at them, he has been probably the MVP outside of Shohei Ohtani, of course. This team has been awesome. And they're not really slowing down anytime soon. Their bullpen's in a really good spot. I think the Mets take this series. I think they win it in 2 games. I think they sweep here on the road. We'll see though. This is going to be a good one. This one's going to be tight throughout. And on to the one that I think is the most lopsided. The most lopsided series, I think, is going to be the Braves and the San Diego Padres. The San Diego Padres, who outside of the Tigers have been the hottest team in baseball, going 9-1 down the stretch here. The Atlanta Braves are limping their way into the playoffs. I talk a lot about pitching. Pitching is very, very important. The NL Cy Young winner, or most likely NL Cy Young winner, Chris Sale, is hurt. He had avoided injuries all year long. That had always been his Achilles heel. He comes to Atlanta, pitches a Cy Young worthy season, and now is out for the playoffs. They can't do this without him. The rest of that roster is equally as injured as their pitching staff has been, and San Diego's the opposite. At the deadline, they go and shore up that bullpen. They have 3 closers in that bullpen now. They add Luis Arias early on in the season. That lineup is stacked. They get They get Tatis Jr. back, Fernando Tatis Jr. This is a stacked team top to bottom. They're getting healthier. The Braves kind of are the opposite in terms of health, and I think the San Diego Padres win this in 2, and I don't think it's very close. This is a Braves team that I had picked to make the World Series at the beginning of the year, but they're just way too injured to make it out of the NL wildcard round. Heading into the divisional rounds, the matchups that we have for you: the Houston Astros taking on the Cleveland Guardians, the Kansas City Royals taking on the New York Yankees, the New York Mets taking on the Philadelphia Phillies, and of course, the San Diego Padres taking on the LA Dodgers. A couple of these matchups, division matchups in the NL, but we're going to start off in the AL over there. The Houston Astros taking on the Cleveland Guardians. This is going to be a battle of opposites, I think, in this one. The Cleveland Guardians are a team that if you keep them in the game, they will win. Point blank period. If they're in the game, they'll find a way to win because that bullpen is that good. They have some really solid hitting. J-Ram puts up a near 40-40 season this year. That's not something normal for a guy to be able to do it that quietly, right? You have a lot of really great pitching. Nothing that's going to blow you out of the water. But they've had a resurgent season with the bats. They need more to step up in the playoffs than have been. But if they're close, they can run away with any series. I don't think they're going to be able to do that. I think the Astros, I don't think this is going to be an easy series by any stretch of the imagination, but I do think the Astros managed to find a way to make it to their 8th straight ALCS. The Houston Astros take down the Cleveland Guardians in 6 games. Move on there. The Royals taking on the Yankees, and as much as I love the Royals, as much as I want to root for the Royals, their offense has been abysmal recently. The Yankees, their pitching has been a little bit of a problem, but against the Royals offense, I don't think it's going to be. I think the Yankees take care of business in that one pretty quickly. 5 games, setting up an Astros-Yankees ALCS. Lots of fun over there. Lots of history there, and we'll get to it in a second. In the NL side of things, the Phillies and the Mets. The Phillies have been slumping a little bit recently, but the Mets, I just don't feel like they have the juice to get past the Phillies this year. The Phillies, with their pitching, their big three on the mound is ridiculous. It's going to be hard to get a better three than that. With their bats are kind of made for summer, made for October here. Power up and down that lineup. I think they're ready to go. I think the Phillies win this series in 7 games in 5 games against the Mets. Excuse me. The other NL series. The Dodgers taking on the San Diego Padres here. The Padres took down the Dodgers last time they played in the playoffs, and like I said, the Padres are the healthiest team right now. They have probably the second best roster, only behind those Dodgers. The Dodgers have the same issue every single postseason. Pitching. They have the same issue this postseason. Pitching. They cannot get their starting pitchers to be healthy. They cannot get them to be relied upon. I think the San Diego Padres find a way in this one, win it in 5 as well. These are all going to be pretty good series outside of, I think, the Yankees and outside of the Yankees series. I think all of those will be good. Setting up a really fun matchup in the ALCS and the NLCS with the Phillies taking on the Padres. Both of those teams looking to get a much needed, well waited for championship. The Phillies are the only team in the NL East to not win a championship in the 2000s. San Diego Padres have been waiting forever to get back to this moment. I think the Padres are going to be able to get it done. The Phillies just can't seem to get that momentum in the playoffs, and this doesn't feel like their year. They've been struggling a little bit down the stretch. They've lost series to the Mets. They've lost series to the Padres. They've lost series to the Brewers, and they just lost a series to the Nats. They're not coming in hot. I'm rolling with the San Diego Padres to come out of the NL in this one. And on the AL side, we have the Yankees taking on the Astros. That one is going to be must-watch television. I'm going to lean towards the Astros, though. The Astros, I know it's not really fair to just go back on, what's happened in the past. But the Yankees pitching isn't quite there, and I think the Astros have the Yankees numbers in the postseason. The Astros win 7-game series in that one, setting up an Astros-Padres finale in the World Series. I think the Padres get it done. Maybe I'm going a little far with that one, but I think the Padres take down the Astros in 6. This should be a fun postseason. This is the most wide-open postseason that I have seen in a long time. I don't think you'd be crazy for picking just about any team to win the World Series in this one. This should be a lot of fun. It's must-watch baseball right now, and I cannot wait to see what happens as the rest of the postseason drags on. But let me know what you think. Who's making the World Series? Who's going to win the World Series? I would love to hear your thoughts on all of this. We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we are going to dive into the Monday night football games. There were 2 of them yesterday. We're going to talk all about both of them, give you a quick update on both of the baseball games as well. So stick around for that. We'll be right back here on Sports by GSMC Podcast Network.